Hey guys, today we are going to be talking about intermolecular forces. So intermolecular forces are just the attraction or the forces that are pulling molecules to one another. So one of the properties that is affected by the forces of molecules are the freezing point. So, of course, all substances will freeze if you get them cold enough, but they will freeze sooner if their particles are able to stick together more easily. So the stronger the attractive forces are, the higher your freezing point is going to be. And that is just what I'm highlighting here. Okay, so that's what we're highlighting here. So the stronger the attractive force, the higher the freezing point. So there are three different intermolecular forces. We have dispersion force, dipole force, and then hydrogen bond. So they are in order of weakest force to the most strongest force. So dispersion force being the weakest and hydrogen bonding being the strongest. Now, not all molecules have all three of these forces. Some only have dispersion forces, whereas some will also have, in addition to dispersion force, a dipole or hydrogen bonding. So with dispersion forces, this is where electrons are moving around the individual atoms within a molecule, and they are moving in such random motion that sometimes those electrons may be on one side of the atom versus another. And so this creates a temporary dipole force. So when I say dipole, I am referencing to that arrow that we were drawing with our polar molecules, showing where that force is more attracted to. And so with it having that temporary dipole, it will then create this like domino effect of neighboring particles, setting up a bunch of weak interactions between the molecules. Now, with dispersion forces, all molecules will have dispersion forces. This is in every molecule. Okay, so we are going to highlight that. The larger a molecule is, either in mass or in the amount of atoms you have within a molecule, that will increase the strength of that dispersion force. So we're going to highlight that last sentence. Okay, so let's look at this. So if we have halogens that are all diatomic molecules, meaning that they only have two atoms in a molecule. So the diatomic molecules will specifically look at, again, some of those halogens. So fluorine, chlorine, bromine, and iodine. So since they all have the same number of molecules, then we got to look at the size. So if we go to our periodic table, remember the trend that we talked about where atomic radius or like atomic size increases as you move down a column, so going from top to bottom, and it increases as you move from right to left. Okay, well for us, we only have to look at the halogens. So they are these four green ones right here, where iodine is at the bottom, followed by bromine, then chlorine, and then finally fluorine. So that is the order of our freezing points. So our highest freezing point is going to be our largest one. So that is going to be F2. Change the color of that. So we have F2. Sorry, not F2, I2. I2 is going to have the largest size, so it will have the highest freezing point. Then this will be followed up by Br2, so bromine, then chlorine, and then finally F2. So this is the high, this is the low. All right, now let's look at the next two. So a dipole force, this just happens within polar molecules. So polar molecules, as we learned, they have that overall force, and again, that is caused by electronegativity. And we call that a permanent dipole. So unlike dispersion forces, dipole forces have a permanent dipole. So that means that that arrow is pointing in a specific or a certain direction, and it's not going to change. And so they are more attracted to other polar molecules. And so the greater the difference in electronegativity, the stronger the dipole will be. So if we were to look at our periodic table, we have electronegativities for elements on here. Okay. Another way to think about it is that the further the molecules or the atoms are from each other, the stronger or the more electronegative that is. So for example, if we were looking at carbon and carbon and say fluorine, well, carbon to fluorine, that would be a larger electronegative pull, versus if we were looking at oxygen to fluorine, right? So it's a shorter distance from oxygen to fluorine versus carbon to fluorine. Okay, so I am going to highlight that last little sentence of the greater the difference in electronegativity will create a stronger dipole. Okay, and then the last one is going to be hydrogen bonding. So this only occurs when we have a hydrogen that is bonded to either a nitrogen, oxygen, or fluorine. It is going to be attracted to the unshared pair of electrons on another nitrogen, oxygen, or fluorine. So on here, we have a hydrogen right here that is bonded to this oxygen. Well, it is attracted to the lone pair of electrons that are on the other oxygen, or the other oxygen on the other water molecule. Okay, so that is really important, this big piece for hydrogen bonding. All right, so now let's list the intermolecular forces with each of these. So right off the bat, all of these are going to have dispersion forces. Okay, so again, all of these are going to have dispersion forces. So dispersion forces. Okay, so I'm going to just copy that on over. So copy and paste it. Because all of those are going to have dispersion forces, because again, dispersion forces occur in every single molecule. So now for the other two, we are going to actually have to draw out those molecules. All right, so just like we've been doing with the Lewis dot structures. So we have NH3, so I'll just draw that over here. Make it a little bit smaller. Okay, so NH3. So now would be a great time for you to calculate how much you have total, right? So nitrogen has 5, and then each hydrogen has 1, so we need a total of 8. So right now with just the bonds, I only have 6, so I'm going to add 2 more up top, so 6, 7, and then 8. Okay, so in order to see if we have a dipole force, we need to see if we have a polar molecule, right? And so remember, for polar molecules, we say is there symmetry, or is it asymmetrical? And then do we have lone pairs? So for this one, yes, we do have lone pairs. So we would have a dipole going this way. So this would have a dipole force. So dipole force. Okay. And then lastly, hydrogen bonding. So is there a nitrogen that is attached to a hydrogen? Yes. And could it then be attracted to another unshared pair of electrons on another nitrogen, oxygen, or fluorine? Well, yes. Okay, so yes, so this one also has hydrogen bonding. Okay, last one. We have CH3F. So let me make some space here. Move this around. And then we can draw out the other one. So I will do this in a different color. So I'll do this one in pink. Alright, so our central atom is going to be carbon. It's connected to fluorine, and then 3 hydrogens. So again, while I'm drawing this might be a great time to pause the video and then see if you can calculate the number of valence electrons we have available. Okay, so we have carbon. Carbon has 4 connected to 3 hydrogens. Each of those have 1. And then we have fluorine, right? So fluorine is going to have 7. So we should have a total of 14. Well, starting off, we have 8. So we need to add some more valence electrons around fluorine. Again, we will never add them around hydrogen. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. All right, so looking at this, I noticed that we don't have a hydrogen attached to an oxygen. So right off the bat, we do not have hydrogen bonding. But do we have a dipole force? So are we dealing with a polar molecule? So we need to look at do we have a symmetrical molecule or do we have an asymmetrical molecule? And or do we have valence electrons, a lone pair of valence electrons? We do not have a lone pair of valence electrons, but we do have asymmetry, right? So this fluorine is more electronegative than this carbon, so we're going to have an overall dipole force that looks something like this. So yes, our molecule has a dipole force. Okay, so I went ahead and added that there. So A only has dispersion forces because it only has hydrogens, and typically your diatomics are going to be dispersion forces only, followed by NH3 has that dispersion force, dipole force, and hydrogen bonding, and then lastly CH3F, dispersion and dipole only. Alright, if you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, please use this video to help you fill in your notes and hopefully help you get through the homework. Thanks, guys.